Morning, boys. I'm gonna try this driving method again because I'm on my way to work and I want to get this out before 9 a.m. So thanks again for the messages this week. I'll try to keep this one brief. I've been thinking a lot this past week, actually the past several weeks. For some reason, work has felt like a drag, and it's been getting harder, and I get frustrated, and I feel like I'm working harder and not feeling happy, and what I've noticed is it rubs off. And so this has been a lesson from making mistakes. If I'm grumpy at work, if I'm impatient with my texts, there's a feeling that changes, and the people around me start to be a little grumpier, and they're not as nice to work with, and it's kind of this perpetual cycle. And so I've had to stop and think why and what's going on to try to remedy this. I listened to a book. This is a book that I had like years ago on my Audible, and I just listened to it this past week, and it's called Start With Why, and it's talking about how inspiring leaders motivate us. And this guy talks about this, what he calls the golden circle, from the outside to inside, with the center being the why, and then the how and the what. And he says we're all really good at focusing on the what. We know what we do. We even know how we do it. But the fuzziest part is the why, and that's often the most important thing. And he's talking about it in the sense of business, but I think it applies to all things in life, where if we don't really understand our why, we can be chasing after that what, we can be, figuring out how, but never really feeling satisfied. And so in work and in business, if we want to be a good leader, if we want to enjoy our lives, if we flip that around, you don't even have to get rid of the what's and the hows. It's just focusing on the why first. And that's the start with why. So any decisions we make in our life, any decisions we make at work, we should really understand why we're doing it. And I think that applies for sure in the gospel. As I thought about this, there was a verse that came to my head, and I was so confused because I couldn't find it in our scriptures. So I've probably heard it in a book, and it's quoting from a different translation of the Bible. But this idea of chasing after wind, it comes from Ecclesiastes. And so I read through that book, and it's a great book. It's talking about King Solomon. He was an interesting guy for sure. Had it all, and wasn't really satisfied. And so he had, in our King James version, it talks about vanity and vexation. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this, so I'll probably just attach these quotes. Trying to drive here, but this is what confused me when I read through the whole book. I couldn't find that verse, so I had to look it up on Google. But where it's coming from, it talks about it a lot. So in verse 14, I have seen all the works that are under the sun, and behold, it is vanity and vexation of spirit. And if you look down, even in the Hebrew translation, that vexation of spirit, I think it can be translated as a chasing after wind. I think sometimes that's what we're doing in life, and it feels so meaningless. We're chasing after all these goals and things without really understanding why, and then even if we achieve them, we're left feeling empty. So what I'm trying to do, again, focus on that why. What is it that gives me joy? What is it that brings me to work each day, gets me up out of bed? And even just by focusing on that in the last couple of days, I've noticed a difference. People, I've been happier at work. My texts have been happier around me. Maybe it's just Christmas. But I think, again, in life, if we can focus on the why first, and then the how and the what, I think it'll bring more joy into our lives. And so I hope you guys have a great day, and hope to see you soon. Hope I get to see you over the Christmas holidays. Take care.